Hello, and welcome back to Happy Time, Happy Money podcast. And I'm your host, Viktoriia Miracle, today with you with Mitch Jaworski. Mitch has been investing for well over a decade, first by trading stocks and then investing in real estate. And in the recent years, his main focus has been crypto and helping others understand how to invest it prudently. Hi, and welcome, Mitch.
Hi, Viktoriia.
So good to connect with you and chat with you. I know we have like a fun chat before, and I know a little bit of your story, and I know you have an amazing story to share. And before we dive into the business, blockchain, and cryptos and all of this fun stuff, I would love to hear where you're coming from, how you got into it, and what inspired you to keep going.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I caught the investing bug when I was about 18 years old. I was fresh out of high school, and I was renting a room from someone that I was working with, and they gave me a book for Christmas called Rolling Stocks. And all it was about how to trade stocks that were basically like trending sideways and basically just, buy, sell back and forth. And that little thing is what kind of got me started down the investment path. I fell in love with the stock market, and that's really how I ended up in this space. I dreamed of working on Wall Street. Unfortunately, I wasn't going to an Ivy League school, so that probably wasn't reality. But yeah, so that's the beginning of it. I ended up working, as a stockbroker briefly for a year or two. That ended when I was in a really big building that had a plane fly into it. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So I moved on into corporate finance, but I always had this passion for investing in stocks. So I was kind of like trading on the side, messing with options while I worked that quote unquote, 9 to 5 day job. And then, I kept evolving, and then, real estate came across, my plate, and I got excited because I was like, wait, I can get passive income. I'm tired of like grinding and trading all the time. Like I want something that's not a job. So I started in real estate in 2014 and started building passive income through that. And then I was still looking at stocks and everything. And then in 2014, I think I heard about Bitcoin for the first time, looked into buying it. There really wasn't an easy way to buy it. I looked at like this I looked at this peer-to-peer exchange where like literally it was like meet someone at like a coffee shop and like give them your wallet address and like hand them money. And I was like, this is shady as hell. I'm not doing this. So I let fear get the best of me, which I guess caters to my brand, Scaredy Cat Guide. And I didn't do anything. And then in 2016, I came across an article that was on Yahoo Finance, which is funny because I haven't been on Yahoo Finance in probably like 3 years. But there was this article, and it talked about this like crypto and this blockchain that was revolved around essentially like a social media site, like a blogging site. So I was like, well, hell, I blog already. Like I had like my own little personal blog. So I jumped on it and I got involved in that. And that's when I really started going down the crypto rabbit hole. And it was cool because I was earning crypto without, even having to spend money just from writing blog posts on that website. And then from there, I just went further down, and I had bought Bitcoin in August of 2016. My only regret is I didn't buy more. And then I just kept going further and further into investing in crypto. And I'm at the point now where, after being a stock market guy for, a decade plus, I don't even look at the stock market anymore. Like I literally just don't even look at it anymore. It's all crypto. My real estate investing, has become second fiddle as well. It's literally all crypto all the time. And, I've been able to build a sizable portfolio through just active investing, a little bit of trading, and also continually blog posting on these social media sites that are, attached to blockchains where, you earn just by participating. So it's been an interesting little ride. It feels like it's been, months, but it's been years. And here we are, 5 years, a little over 5 years later, and life is good. Crypto is good. And now I guess I've acquired enough knowledge where I teach others how to do it because, everyone wants to know what the heck crypto is and what the heck Bitcoin is now.
Exactly. And it says just so perfectly. Let's go right, straight into it. For those who hasn't been in the blockchain industry or crypto, we touched on this podcast a little bit there and here, but it's more traditional investment. And I would love to just like do a very starter introduction to, and I know you're the best person to explain that. What is a blockchain?
Yeah.
What is a crypto?
Yeah. I mean, and that's the biggest thing, you know, it's not even like you need to understand blockchain to do crypto, but it's always nice to at least have a fundamental idea of, you know, how things are working. And what people don't realize is, you know, blockchains are used in more than just crypto. I mean, IBM uses blockchains, you know, internally for, you know, logistics tracking, things like that. And I think the biggest difference when it comes to crypto is the decentralized nature of it. So the short version of a blockchain is like literally just picture this. It's just a series of blocks that are linked together. And each block is basically labeled with what they call a hash. And that hash is just a random, you know, set of numbers and letters, but that labels that block. And that hash in that block gets pushed forward to the next block. So the next block that processes has its own hash, and it'll have the previous hash in it. And that's essentially how the blockchain links itself. Now, these blocks are what's important because all the transactions that happen, as they get processed, well, that's what happens. They're processed in a block. So if you do a transaction on, let's just say Bitcoin, you know, you wait for X number of confirmations, and as those confirmations happen and then a block's produced, your transaction essentially is produced and now is on the ledger and is there, you know, for eternity. And that's the biggest takeaway is a blockchain, especially when it comes to crypto, is an open ledger. It's open source and it is full and complete. So whatever happened on, let's say, Bitcoin from day one, that data is still present. That data can still be findable by someone. You can search, you know, Block Explorer, and any current block links all the way back to that, you know, especially for it to be, you know, obviously a valid block. The beauty of crypto is that it takes that blockchain and it decentralizes it, which basically just means there's no central point of authority. So the easiest way to picture this is think about Google. We all go on Google, no matter where we are in the world, we search something, we get an answer in a fraction of a second. The reason that's possible is because Google has servers all over the world, except for Google controls all those servers. Google is the central authority. Google is also the central point of failure, the central point of control. With a decentralized blockchain, there is no Google. The blockchain is being run and produced by everyone, by me, by Viktoriia, by whoever wants to run what they call a node and essentially process the blockchain. There's different types of blockchains. That's a whole nother story we're not going to get into. But when it comes to Bitcoin, essentially it's miners producing blocks. And anyone that wants to be a miner can try and be a miner. You just buy the, you know, gear that you need and make a run at it. Doesn't mean that you're going to definitely win blocks and earn Bitcoin, but you're going to be one of more than 10,000 people running a Bitcoin node, which you can look up on, I think it's bitnodes.io. You can see how many nodes are running at a time. So instead of Google having servers all over the world, we are the servers, every single person that's running a node. And because of that, there is no central point of failure. If my computer crashes and my node goes down, it's not stopping the blockchain. And if I decide that I want to change something about the blockchain, well, guess what? I have no power or authority to do that. And that's the beautiful part of decentralization, is that it solves the problem of what they call a trustless environment, where basically you don't need that middleman to essentially validate that each party is doing what they're supposed to do. And that was always the biggest problem, I guess, in regards to having anything that was decentralized. It's like, well, how do people trust each other? And the blockchain solves that problem in many ways. And a lot of that has to do with DeFi and smart contracts, but that is a whole nother topic that would take its own podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I just looked it up for interest. It's 14,738 nodes on Bitcoin.
There you go. And it keeps growing, because I wrote a book. Well, I wrote a book a couple years ago on Bitcoin. I actually recently expanded it, but when I wrote it a couple years ago, it was just over 10,000, and that's why I always just say 10,000. But I know that's crazy. It's up to 14 and change now. It goes to show you, wow, just power of the network keeps growing.
It's powerful. Yeah, it is. And you know, United States, I can see in Europe, it's like the most, and of course China, it's closed it up now. So I guess there were, and imagine how many nodes went down. So interesting. It probably was more numbers of the nodes that is currently right now after China.
Yeah, because China was big.
Yeah. So what you said, you know, about that, what's the trust and how do we, you know, prove that this person have this amount of money that they're saying, and when they're sending them. So that's what, removing a kind of a banks. But people say, okay, it's never gonna happen. It will not happen in the way that there will be no banks, but they will adapt and make it faster and easier. Because right now, let's say, why, I just want to add on to it, why is it so important? Because banks, you don't have a control over your money. Let's say on Bitcoin, if I have $1 million and I want to send it to Mitch, I'll send it and it'll be there in 12 minutes, probably 12, 30 minutes.
Let me get you my wallet address ASAP.
Exactly, give it to me. And if you want to send it through banks, on Bank of America, $1 million to Mitch, they might ask, where did you get the money from? Why you're sending? Oh, well, maybe it'll take another a week. We need to clarify things out, and that's a huge amount. We need to send it to the IRS. And I'm like, what? So that's the beauty of a blockchain and the cryptocurrency, right? Because Bitcoin, it's a cryptocurrency, and there is so many cryptocurrencies, not just one Bitcoin. So that is good. Thank you so much for this amazing breakdown of explanation on how that works. I think that's all we need to understand.
Yeah, you just, and I always say demystify crypto. That's what I always tell people. I'm like, we're going to demystify crypto, because once people actually understand it and the light bulb goes off, they're just like, oh, well, that's not that complicated. So I think, people fear what they don't know. So, the more we can educate people on, the basics of it and, how it functions, I think the more widespread it becomes and the more comfortable people, become with it. And I think the biggest takeaway, what people have to realize and what may scare people is, what you just talked about with the banks and how we don't have full control of our money, and we don't. So when it comes to crypto, the difference is, yes, you get full control of your money, but that's also the problem. That scares people, because if you make a mistake, there's no FDIC insured, there's no the government's not coming to save you. You're in full control of your money. So anything in life, there's pros and cons to everything. I personally like having full control of my money because I like to think I'm financially prudent. That doesn't mean I haven't made mistakes. I've kissed some money to the crypto gods, off to the gods, thank you very much. It happens, you make mistakes, but at the same time, there's no one telling me what I can and cannot do with my money. And I'm also not restricted in that, Viktoriia's example. I mean, I don't want to wait 5 days to move money. If I'm moving money, it's because there's something that I'm trying to jump on, and I'm going to miss that window if I'm waiting for the bank to approve me. So pros and cons to everything, just know what you're getting into. And when you have crypto off an exchange, if you have a crypto on a Coinbase or crypto.com or anything like that, you technically really aren't in full control of your crypto. Not your keys, not your coins, as they always say. But just know that crypto gives you the power to have control of your own money. But to quote, I guess, Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. So be responsible with your money once you have control of it.
And let's speak about the mistakes that people are making when, not the mistakes, but what's the pros of that as well? Like you said, first, the very first that came to my mind is losing your keys when, it's your own wallet. And I know there's a 20% of Bitcoins or 30% of Bitcoins are actually lost and probably never going to be found.
Yeah, it's a big chunk. And there's that story. So and we'll talk about this obviously later, but I do a weekly call where I go over basics for people. And one of the biggest things I teach them, I'm like, this is what a crypto wallet is. This is the different keys. And more importantly, this is what a seed phrase is, or AKA a secret phrase. And when you create your wallet, this is the most important thing, period. Because with this, you won't be like that guy in London who was trying to dig up a landfill because he had 100 million in Bitcoin and some old computer that he couldn't access. So I always say, I'm like, don't be a news story. If that guy remembered what type of wallet he had that on and had his seed phrase, all he has to do is go download that same type of wallet, import by using his seed phrase, and then it literally pulls your information off the blockchain. Because, as I always say, the blockchain is the opposite of Vegas. What happens on the blockchain stays on the blockchain. And that's really what you got to remember.
I love that. Yeah, it's imagine if Bank of America, not that Bank of America is going bankrupt, but let's say Bank of America is going bankrupt, and then but it's like if it will be on a blockchain, then you can still have a seed phrase like your account number. And imagine you can log into a different bank and get your money out of it. That's basically blockchain. Imagine if the all banks work together, right? And
That's a
they all have
really
it.
cool way to describe it. I like that. I'm gonna probably use that going forward.
Go for it, use it. It just came to me. And I think that's what we need to understand, is that the account number, like if you don't know your account number, you cannot log into your bank. I mean, with the bank, you can give them the number, social security, but just remember, if you don't remember your social security, like,
Yeah.
you know, that's what is a seed phrase. It's just so important. It's so important that you like gotta really treat well. And I recommend
You
put it on
know,
3 different places. Like you can just put on one thing and then the house might burn. So yeah, definitely
yes.
make sure it's in a different spot.
Yes, no, and that's a valid point. So like me personally, like I literally physically print out a copy that is in my safe, and then I have a copy on like an external hard drive I have that's got like, important stuff. And then, you can do whatever. I mean, people do all sorts of different things, make pictures of it, whatever. But either way, you just want to make sure you keep it secure. You don't share it with people, because if you share that with someone, then they essentially can, hijack your crypto. So that would be bad. And, you talked about like kind of like the bank and the online thing. And, I think what's crazy is it's not that much different than interacting with your online banking. It's like you have an account, you have a password. You wouldn't share your password to your online banking with someone. Don't share your private key with someone. And your seed phrase, like you said, that's kind of like your social security number. So if you lose your bank account number, you go to the bank, you show them your license, you give them your social security, they can look it up for you. So your seed phrase is kind of like the equivalent of that. So I like this. This is cool.
It's easy to explain, right? It comes together kind of in a good picture. I really like that too. So what other, things, what like top 3 advices? Let's just go. Yeah, let's tap on the mistakes, because you obviously, we will share, Mitch have a Zoom call that you can go, and I think he explains that all of it in there, and you can also look it up online. But like, what advice you will give to those people that are starting? It's like, what mistakes have you done that you can, advise on not doing it anymore?
Yep. Mistakes I've done, mistakes my friends that I've gotten into crypto have done. And the biggest
So
thing is, especially when we're in a rush and we're trying to move things around, you need to, well, here's a rule for anyone new in crypto. Anytime you are sending crypto to another wallet or to your own wallet off exchange or whatever it is, if you're
I know
doing
what's
it for the
coming.
first,
I know what's coming.
yeah,
Go for
if
it.
you do it for the first time, anytime you send something for the first time, do a test transaction, meaning use a small amount, like almost like whatever the minimum send is, send that, see that it works, and then send all your money, right? And then going forward, you never have to do a test transaction again, because it's like, all right, I understand this wallet, or I know that I sent, I didn't send Bitcoin to an Ethereum wallet or something like that, because that's something that I think really catches people, is that they don't understand that there's certain wallets that only function for certain blockchains. And the good part is crypto is evolving so fast that I don't think that's going to be a thing a couple of years from now, because you already have several blockchains like Thorchain and so many others that are becoming interoperable, where you can have native Bitcoin directly on their chain. So as that becomes more present, I think we're going to have wallets where you can have everything. And don't get me wrong, there's wallets that are multifunctional now, but there's a lot that are just specific to certain cryptos, certain blockchains. So,
Yeah,
do a test transaction.
that's actually one company that I'm kind of affiliated with, Zenic. They are building a blockchain. They are saying that, I mean, that they have a technology that you can send, all the different networks to the blockchain, and it's decentralized. And that's kind
Awesome.
of Binance, decentralized Binance, which is super cool. So technologies are, I mean, yeah, right now it's a problem. If it works on a different network, I've sent money on the wrong network and I lost money. And I know it cost me $171. So
That's actually pretty
it's
cheap.
really
So I
good.
got,
It's a good lesson.
I sent, as I call it, I sent money to the crypto gods way back in 2017. And it was, at the time, it was only $300 worth of ETH. I don't want to think about how much it's worth now. I don't even try and do the math. I don't try and remember how much ETH it actually was. I just remember it
Oh
was
my
like about
God.
$300 USD. So I'm never going to go back and figure it out, because I don't want to know what that's worth right now, but it happens. And listen, I have a friend that, unfortunately, more than that, it was like, what did he send? It was like, I think it was close to 2 grand. And you know what he did? He he was moving around things so fast, and he had copied the token address for something. I don't know if it was Ethereum or whatever it was, and he accidentally put the token address into the send field
Ah,
instead of the wallet, because he was actually sending me crypto, and he ended up sending it basically into the ether, like kissing goodbye to the crypto gods. Like, don't send anything to an actual token address. That's not good.
yes, yes, we don't. There's another advice that it's here. Don't really make sure when you're working with money, it's not just crypto, but it's when you're working with money that you're putting the right account numbers, and you're putting the right
Yes.
names and right Swift codes, and that's
Yes.
exactly the same with the crypto. You gotta make sure, like bank have the Swift things. It's like the same, it's a network, right? You gotta choose the
Yeah.
right network, you gotta put the right correct address, amount, and the fee,
Yeah.
and make sure
And
that you agree and you send it. There is no other
yeah,
agree that the bank can say, oh, we don't agree. So you agree, then
yeah,
you agree with it. And that's it.
yep.
And I think that's the beauty of crypto, and just having power back to a human being, because we're earning them, but then we're like, oh, bank, of course, you got it. You choose what I do with my money.
Pretty
It's like
much.
it's so
So like,
real.
it goes back to whole, just you got to take a little more responsibility, which means you got to be a little more prudent. So, as you were
Yeah.
talking about with checking your account, like anytime you're sending or receiving, double check that wallet address. Make sure you're sending it to where you think you're sending it, or, giving out the correct wallet address to whoever's sending you crypto. And that's the safest way not to essentially kind of see crypto go bye-bye.
Yeah. So what do you see, because you're running those Zoom calls, and like what do you see people are like, what's happening, right? What is the first fear that people have, and like how can you support get overcome that?
So it's funny because the fear is pretty much a trend that remains the same in terms of like the topics they want to talk about. That trend obviously goes with whatever's hot because now
Shiba.
it's all about
Can we talk about Shiba? I'm kidding.
.com.
I
Yes,
know.
exactly. See, you knew. So yeah,
Flocky, Shiba, whatever.
I'm not gonna lie. I shorted, and again, like I said, I was a day trader for years. I
Yeah.
shorted Shiba Inu just out of spite. Although on the chart it made sense. I made about a 250% return. I posted it all over TikTok just to literally almost clown on people because I got so tired of everyone in my ear about, like,
Shiba.
anyone I've ever met in my life would text me about how do I buy, like, own no crypto, and they'd call me up and be like, how do I buy this Shiba Inu? I'm like, you don't, stop it. It's too late. You already missed the train. So, but yeah, and that's the thing too. I think, people should pay mind to getting FOMO, right? Everyone fear of missing out, and they FOMO into stuff. And the thing is, by the time something's gotten really popular, you've missed all the real big gains. And that doesn't mean you still can't make money. It just means like the dude that basically, 1000x his investment, you're not going to be that person. Like that already happened. If you double your investment, then you crushed it pretty much at that point. So, just pay mind to that when something's run so fast, so far, and especially what the market cap of it is too, because it's like
Well, right
Shiba
now it's
Inu.
like a fourth or third. Oh my gosh,
I think it's at 11 or 12, but my whole point to that was that,
it's insane. Good marketing.
all these people hyping that coin, right? Oh, it's going to go to $1. I'm like, you do realize if it goes to $1, it's going to have like 3 times the market cap of Bitcoin. So yeah, anything can happen in our society these days is what I've learned, because stuff is crazy, but I'm going to go with betting on that it's not going to be worth 3 times the size of Bitcoin. I'm just pretty confident in that bet. So, and I think I'll just short it instead and make some money on a trade. But anyway, I digress. We're not going to hate on Shiba Inu. Meme coins have their place. But yeah, the biggest thing I get, and the way all this started, and like I wrote a book called Scaredy Cat Guide to Knowing What the Heck Bitcoin Is. And the reason it got that title was because I was going to my real estate meetups. Because again, like I said, I'm a real estate investor. I go to a lot of networking meetups for real estate. And especially in 2018, when we were like the top of the bubble, I would go to these real estate meetups and half the conversation would end up about crypto. And over, the same thing I would hear is, it looks cool, but I don't understand what the heck it is. So I just kept hearing that over again. Like, I don't understand what the heck it is. Like, what the heck is Bitcoin? And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to literally turn that into a book. So, I think really it's just people going from kind of like we just talked about, a few minutes ago. And then with that baseline, they now feel comfortable, right? Because when they're not comfortable, the biggest fear is basically, am I going to get hacked? Is my Bitcoin going to get stolen? Am I going to, is the government going to take it away? And it's like funny because to us, that have some crypto knowledge, we hear that and it's like you almost want to laugh, right? Because you're like, all right, you'll realize how ridiculous your questions sound once you kind of learn it a little bit. And that's really what it is. It's just alleviating that fear of them basically doing something dumb where they lose their money or getting, hacked, or because people think that like crypto can get hacked. And I was like, no, like, listen.
Your wallet can get hacked if you go to a phishing site, and I speak, about it on my Russian Instagram, but I'll make English content for that. It's just there's so much phishing going on, so you have to be really careful and looking to what links you're clicking. But that's not only with crypto; it's with everything else too.
That's anything. That's what your online
Bank of America, whatever, online banking. But people make such a big deal because, right, there is a fear of unknown, and okay, it's I can get scammed. I'm not going to get into it. But you can get scammed in the bank, you can get scammed in everything. So it's just really paying attention. And that's the most common, I think, mistake that I see people making. It's to clicking link that is like one letter different and giving their password and login. And there's people just log in and password and cash their account. So that's it. Super simple.
I personally know someone that basically got phished on their MetaMask and got their
it was like just a couple of weeks ago, MetaMask lost like $500,000, but it's nothing compared to billions that are there. It's like, they close it up really quickly, right? They figured it out. And that's, people will now probably hear say, oh my God, I'm not going to go into it. But what happened is that Google Trends, right? Hackers created a website that they are ranked on Google first, better than the MetaMask itself for like hours, for few hours or something, I believe. I don't remember exact numbers. And people logged it into that one thinking it's the first on Google, thought it's real, didn't pay attention to a link, give their address, like the login and password. So people logged in, and put the seed phrase, and what happened. It's also stupidity of people. Like you gotta pay attention.
Yeah. And the two big takeaways, like you said, so pay attention. It's like, number one, make sure you're on the correct site. Like you want to make sure you're on the official site. Like if you're going to so MetaMask is basically a web plugin wallet, it's called a soft wallet. And if you're going to download MetaMask, make sure you're on the official MetaMask website, because that's how my friend's brother basically got caught. He clicked a link that was not the official MetaMask. So he downloaded that. And then like, as he was, adding to that and getting into DeFi projects and everything, it's like, I guess he hit a certain threshold where they thought, all right, it's time to clear him out. There's some money in here now. And then the second is, as Viktoriia mentioned, the seed phrase. No one's ever going to ask you for your seed phrase. If you go onto a site and it asks you for your seed phrase, you know that you need to get out of Dodge, because that's a scam. The only time you ever use your seed phrase is if you download a wallet that you've previously used to import your crypto again. So if you have a wallet and whatever, you lose access to it for whatever reason or the other, and you go on a new computer and you download that wallet, instead of basically creating a new wallet, you're going to basically import your existing wallet by using your seed phrase. That is the only time you ever use your seed phrase. If anyone asks you for it outside of that, it's a scam.
It is. I think I was on the MetaMask, like this website, they asked for password and I put password and then seed phrase. I was like, no, that's the wrong website. It's like, you just got to be careful around that.
Log in with your password. If it asks you for your seed phrase as well, you don't need your seed phrase to log in. You just need your password.
I went on one like this website once, but I catched myself. And now the funny thing is I went to look for my seed phrase, and then the moment I was like, what am I looking for seed phrase? And then it came back, I was like, no, this is a not right website. You see it, even like, you still need to catch yourself on that, because when you do things, it's so automatic that you're just like going for it, whatever the desktop tells you to do. It's like basically.
Well, and I also say too, like, patience isn't exactly my strong point. And sometimes I'll just button mash, I call it. And if you're kind of just like clicking through, like to get like where you want to go, sometimes you miss little things, and you see that even with crypto transactions, in terms of like, what they call a gas fee. And, you might get a bad gas fee and you're just hitting approve. And all of a sudden you spent like half a BNB on a transaction. You're like, wait, what just happened? So you got to pay attention to what you're doing. And I think that's the biggest thing. And honestly, like some people don't want that responsibility because, there's a saying that's ignorance is bliss. It may be. And if that's what makes you happy, then live that way. But if you're someone that, essentially wants to be a little more in control, it's like the equivalent to the Matrix. Which pill do you want to take, the red or the blue? Make your decision and then move forward. Either one, good for you. Like, you got to live your life. I'm not here to judge anybody. Make your choice and then,
and that's
act accordingly, prudent.
And if you take the pill that you want to go with it, I know that Mitch, have an amazing class that will lead you into that. So
yeah, well,
yeah, you can share about that. Go for it. And we're going to wrap up. Wrap it up.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the segue. So yeah, no, honestly, I like teaching people and I just want more people to get involved in crypto. So I do a free 30-minute Zoom call on Tuesday evenings, 6:30 Eastern time, where I basically just teach people the basics of what a blockchain is, what a wallet is, what your keys are, and what a seed phrase is. So you basically are equipped to, interact with crypto without quote unquote doing something dumb. And then, from that, obviously, I have other products. I have a mastermind I run, but a lot of those are paid for type products. So, but if you want to get started, jump on the free call. You'll get the basics you need to start investing in crypto and, demystify it so you're no longer scared of it.
Yeah. So start somewhere. Thank you so much for coming over, Mitch. And thank you for everybody that is listening to this interview. And if you would like to, there's actually video version of it too on YouTube. If you go and subscribe and give a like and comment, that will be also very supportive. I think I need to start saying that at the start. So if people actually want to watch it, they can watch it instead of listening to it.
This is true, but they'll know for the next one and you want them to keep watching. So
exactly. So thank you very much. And if you just scroll down, there's going to be a link for the episode page where you will see the whole links that we mentioned above and biography and some other links and the video of this interview. Thank you very much. And I will see you next week. Bye.